Hello, it's me, and I'm going to do something a little different today, something just kind of for the fun of it. You see in front of you a bunch of pieces, obviously from Shapeways. This didn't come this way, this came white, but I dyed it black. And it's obviously a puzzle, and I'll tell you it's a cuboid puzzle. And it's going to be an assembly, but this is a mystery assembly. And let's see if you can figure out what exactly it is that I'm assembling before I get done with it, or somewhere midway through it. I'll tell you that it is not something you've likely seen before, probably not something you've ever heard before, and not something that's really around. So it's something brand new. This is YouTube first. So I'll just take a look at some of these pieces. They're all laid out. And all I'm going to be using are these pieces and these screws over here. So let's see if you can figure out what it is, and we'll get started. Now, eventually, this is going to serve as the video to describe how to assemble this once it's more well known. So if you already know what it is, ignore this first part, and we'll get on with the assembly. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is start off with my core. I always wonder why I dyed the core black. You're never going to see it anyway, so I guess just for the sake of, I don't know, consistency. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting in the centers in here. So here's a center here, some centers over here, and some center pieces over here. Now, you can already probably figure something out. If you saw my last assembly, the 6x6, the 6x7x7, we made some conclusions based on what kind of a center it was based on what the caps look like. So, just want to point this out. You see that there's 4 little holes here, which means these things go on them, or caps just like it anyway. And you can see that all of them have these 4 little holes. So if you know what I'm talking about, then you're already a little bit ahead of the game as to what exactly it is that I'm putting together. What you need are these Cube for You screws that you can buy from the Cube for You site. It's the only screws that they sell. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one side and just screw it in. Now it's always a matter of how much is too much tension, how much is not enough. Of course, always err on the side of too little tension. You can always tighten it. With these Shapeways products, it generally is very stiff at first, very arthritic, but you almost sandpaper it down as you use it. Now this was obviously a little too tight, so I'm just going to back off on it a little bit. And I usually make it about as tight to where I can see that this fits flush, and I can't really see the screw underneath there, but I can move this pretty freely like this over here. So really what's going to cause the tension is the interplay between the pieces. What I'm going to do also is, as I'm putting the centers in, I'd like something to hold it in place, so I'm going to put these screws in as well, or these edges in, centers in rather. Bring this over here and put this here and screw it in. It's always been amazing to me that these Shapeways products come out the way that they are. What we're dealing with is we're not dealing with a modification. We're not dealing with trying to make a shape make sense. We're dealing with a bottom-up creation. That someone had a concept and designed it from the bottom up, so every one of these pieces are literally made for what they're about to become. Start to bump into each other. So that's pretty good over here. Not bad. It might be a little on the loose side, which might not be bad at first, but I think I can tighten it a little more. Again, I like to do it just to where you don't really see the silver of the screw much. Now expect with a lot of these do-it-yourself, a lot of powder is going to eventually still come out. And now the other side. Now generally when doing these puzzles, when you put in the centers, you generally don't put in the last one because you might need that space available to you. I wonder how many of these puzzles really just have humans that give you the concept of what's wanted, but it's really the computer that does the hardcore designing, and you just sort of make refinements. How much of this was guided by a peripheral brain, and how much of this was painstaking measurement and research on the part of the person? The only one who can answer that question are the people who designed this, so if anyone has that answer, let me know. Okay, so we've got these 4 surrounding this top one over here. So we're going to start putting in our first side. Now the first side is the toughest because you don't have any tensions working for you. So we're going to have to make sure that things are just kind of held in. So the first piece that we're going to do, our big center, so to speak, is going to come from this piece over here. Kind of learn this well. You can tell this is the biggest piece in the set, and it's got kind of a rounded edge over here. Now with this, you're going to fit a small wing piece right on top of that, which is this piece over here. This is one of our Olds centers. In addition to that, you're going to have one of these smaller wing pieces here too. So you're going to have a small one and a large one. The small one is going to fit, and what's going to happen is that this large one with the wide area here is going to fit on top of this over here, just like this. And then these two are going to slide into this area here, just like that. And then from here, it's going to slide nicely just into here. So you're going to juxtapose it between these centers, just like this. Okay, so simple stuff. It's going to look like this. So once we have this here, I'm going to do this kind of the way that I solve it, by getting a cross in. So I'm going to put all the other edges that go along in here too. Now the next edge is not going to be the long guy. Now we're going to do a smaller one. So it's going to look similar to this, but it's going to be, of course, shorter. So it's going to be this guy over here. Still has kind of the rounded edge that we can see, and I'm going to use another one of these. So there's a reason why I had 8 of these instead of just 4 of them. But anyway, this is going to fit into here, just like so. And now we're going to put this here. So whatever could that mean? What are we making here? Now because I elected to put all of the edges in, I'm going to have to kind of tease it in here. But it's pretty robust, so it can go in pretty well. If I don't like how tough it is to put it in, I can always loosen these a little bit. But I think we can do it. See? Comes in nice. Just like that. So now I'm going to put the same ones, the reciprocal ones, on the other sides here. And then after a while I'm going to have to turn it upside down because, as you can see, it's going to be hard to hold it in just by gravity's just going to cause trouble. So take one of these again, one of these, and one of these. This sits on top of this, while this is placed over here, just like so. Ta-da! And I'll come across over here and put this one just across from its counterpart. And splat. Fits in nicely. Okay, now we put in this counterpart. One of these, and one of these. Put it in like this. Come around and now put this in over here. So now tension is starting to play a role in holding these things together. And I'm coming all the way around and simulating the rotational movement that it's going to do. So we have this. So we have our cross. This is what it looks like. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have to be putting the rest in. I wonder if I can start tightening this a little bit. But we're going to be putting the rest in. Now you can see these are old centers over here. So the one that fits in between these are going to be this guy over here, this kind of triangular piece. And just by nature of the tension here, I can just place this, hopefully, here. And that's held in pretty well. So I'm going to continue to put in these little old pieces here, but I'm going to turn it upside down because although it holds in nicely here, it's not going to stay like that. So I'm going to turn it upside down and set it down. And they're just going to slip right in between. So I'm going to take another one here, turn it, slip it right in between. Bang. Take another one, turn it, slip it in there. Another one, turn it, slip it in there. Okay, so that's what we've got over here. Turn, turn, turn. And if I were to reveal that, you can see that little stellate pattern, that little star pattern there. Okay, so what goes next? Well, we're still dealing with the old edges, and I'm going to do something different with the long edges and with the short edges. Because with the long edges, remember, I had this long piece here that was in between this piece over here. So too I need an extra piece to go on the side here. And it turns out that that extra piece, extra olds piece, is going to be this, and it's these tapered edges that it's going to be at. So just like with a jigsaw puzzle, now this is going to go and fit into here, and just kind of get a feel for what's supposed to go where. So I'm going to come across here, place it, and that fits real nice. So now I'm going to take another side, just the opposite side here, and put it on the other side here. It's the opposite shape, just like that. Now I'm not going to put it on the other side. It doesn't go there. It only goes just next to it, just wings and flanks the long side over here. So that's where that's going to go. And just kind of remember that. What I'm going to now do is I'm going to put in the edges that go on either side. So these are centers here, and now I'm going to put the edges in. The edges are going to be these guys here, and if you can imagine what this is going to look like, if I were to borrow one of these, notice this has sort of a rounded tapered edge here. So does this. Oops. But it continues the course just like this. So you can see that it's carving out a shape here. So as this is upside down like this, I'm going to place it over here. So this is sort of angulated upwards, and you just plop it right into here. And it should set down quite simply. Then we do the same thing on the other side, which is going to be this piece. So this piece just over here. So you can see this fits nice and flush just like that. What we're going to do to complete this part now is we're going to put edges. These are corners rather. Corners are the longest ones. That's this guy over here. Now the way that this is going to go in is this is actually going to have to dive deep into the core. So there's actually little clefts in between where we put these little guys here, and it's going to have to kind of dive inside there. If I try to put it in here, does this make sense? Is this going to work? Sure. I have to navigate through the centers, and it should come in pretty nicely, just like over here. Now I'm going to go across the other side, same thing here. If anything, this is angulated up with this mouth facing up here and this notch facing up to receive the next layer, and put this right over here. And this is one side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So now we're going to move across to this side and see how long that's going to be. Well, what I want to do is I want to put the next edge that goes right next to this, and that's going to be these guys. And what this is going to do is this is the same thing. It's angulated up with this notch facing upwards, and we're going to have to angulate this into here. Now there's a couple of little clefts that this fits in. No need to visualize that now. Just kind of dive it underneath the center and just kind of gently place it. And you can see that fits pretty snug over there. You can see there's still some residual white powder, but that's okay. That's either going to be in the core or the sticker is going to cover it. So, and I'll just do the same thing on the other side. Right? Again, angulate it up. And this goes right like this. And again, if you feel that you're forcing it, you probably put it in wrong, but it shouldn't take a lot of force at all. Alright, so now we're still working on this side over here. So the next piece that goes here are these guys. Now remember, in this layer, all these notches are going to be facing up. So I believe this comes next, and this is going to be facing up, kind of angulated up. And I'm just going to guide this into here. Gentle force should do it, and bang, pop right in there. Okay, so now we just do the opposite side over here. I'm just going to keep going symmetric so that I don't lose track of what I'm doing. And just slide it in, and there it is. Okay. So these are all in over here. So now we keep going. So we do the other reciprocal part right here. As long as you can see it angulated up, then you're okay. And this just flips right over. And now I need to put those old areas right into here too. So right here. That fits nicely here, as you can see. Is it this one? Yep, falls in nicely. So now that I've got that in there, now that I've got these guys in, now this guy comes in as well. So this slides in nicely right here. And now this guy will slide in nicely right over here. So now I just put the other two edges in. My old pieces are already in. So we'll find them. Here's one here. This is angled up, so I believe it comes in this way. Yeah. Just like that. And now this one comes in here, just like that. So we got these two. Okay, now we put these long corners in, which is here. Doesn't seem to fit in here. So let's see if we can dive this. Yep, okay, so it fits really nice. And bang. Okay, so pretty easily, this is what this looks like from this side here. And this is our first layer. Well, let me back this up here. So what kind of a puzzle is this? What have I got here? What is this? Let you look at that real quick. And I guess the question is, how deep is this puzzle? What is the depth? But in any case, this is what it looks like. Just like that.